Arya slipped through the chaos of the city the way she slipped through everything, not unseen but unnoticed, which was different. People in burning streets paid attention to the burning. She paid attention to the path. She had a specific destination and a specific reason for it, and the reason had been on a list she had kept in her head for years. Cersei Lannister was at the top. The city was burning and people were dying, and the woman responsible was in the Red Keep, and Arya Stark had been working toward this for a very long time. She had considered wearing a face. She had the skill for it, had worn Littlefinger's face to manage the veil, and could have worn any number of people to walk straight into the Red Keep without challenge. She had thought about it and decided against it. Cersei Lannister had spent her whole life in rooms where people performed for her, and she knew every performance. And there was another reason, simpler and more honest. She wanted Cersei to know who had come for her, not a faceless servant of the many-faced god. Arya Stark of Winterfell, who had a list and was here to finish it. But first, the mountain. She moved through back alleys and servant passages, through the parts of the Red Keep that the chaos had not yet reached, guided by the maps she had memorized years ago and the specific knowledge of how old castles worked, where the sight lines were, where guards would be positioned, where the sound would carry. She found Cersei in the throne room. Not sitting on the throne, standing near it in the center of the room, with the mountain between her and the door. The mountain was in his armor, helmed, sword drawn, the absolute stillness of something that had been reduced to a single purpose. He was not looking at the door. He was looking at everything. Arya moved. She was good, she was very good. Needle was in her right hand and the cat's paw dagger in her left, and she moved from 3 separate directions in the span of 2 seconds, using every technique she had, every feint and misdirection and strike from an unexpected angle she had spent 8 years learning in the dark. Needle found gaps that a larger blade couldn't have reached. The narrow seam between gorget and pauldron, the hinge point of the elbow, the half-inch of exposed wrist. The cat's paw dagger drove for the joints in the armor where the metal couldn't fully protect, grinding into the gaps with the precision of someone who had studied exactly this problem. Each strike landed, each one drew something. Not blood. What came from the mountain's wounds was black and thick, moving too slowly, with the heavy reluctance of something that had long since stopped being alive. It oozed from the joint at his elbow where Needle had found its mark, welled up from the seam at his neck where the cat's paw dagger had worked its way through. It did not drip so much as crawl, tracing dark lines down the armor's surface before it fell. It smelled of rot and cold and something older than either. The torchlight caught it wrong, not gleaming the way blood gleamed, but absorbing the light, eating it, as though even fire wanted nothing to do with what was leaking out of him. He absorbed each strike with the terrible patience of something that had no pain to worry about and no fatigue. He did not flinch. He did not adjust. He simply continued existing in her path, enormous and unhurried, and the black sludge kept crawling down his armor and he did not seem to notice it at all, which was somehow the worst thing about it. She came at him a 4th time, lower, inside his guard, driving the cat's paw dagger upward at the armpit where the plate had to allow movement. He caught her. Not her blade, her arm. The hand that closed around her forearm was armored and vast, and it did not grip so much as simply close, the way a machine closed, without the variable pressure of something that was choosing how hard to hold. There was no choosing in it. There was no anything in it. Just the mechanical fact of the grip and her arm inside it, and the absolute stillness of a thing that had decided it was holding something and had no further thoughts on the matter. She could not get free. She fought with everything, with Needle, with the cat's paw dagger, with every technique that had saved her from things that should have been impossible. He took it and held on, and the grinding pressure of the grip was doing what it was going to do, and she thought, this is the one I couldn't plan for.